Hi, this is Julie with Global Oasis Yoga. Welcome, YouTube subscribers, and any of you who are joining me for the first time. I'm fairly new here to YouTube, so I would welcome any sort of constructive feedback that you have to offer. Just make a comment down below underneath the description. And today we are going to be practicing a grounding and strength flow. We're going to be throwing in a little bit of everything. You'll have an opportunity for some breath work, some strengthening poses, and some balance challenges ahead. I'm not going to be using any specific props, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to use a bolster pillow and some blocks if you would like. So gather those nearby. If you don't have them, don't stress. It is not mandatory at all. Let's begin seated in Sukhasana. Easy seat. Legs are gently crossed. If this feels uncomfortable for you, first opportunity for your bolster is to prop up the hips, putting the bolster just under the sit bones, not under the backs of the thighs, so that your knees can rest a little bit lower than the hips and take the pressure off. Close the eyes. Place the hands on the knees. Hands can be facing down or palms can be facing up. Begin to take long and slow, even inhales through the nose. Take a moment to gather your thoughts. Bring your mental awareness to the mat along with your physical body. In a moment, we're going to practice a 3-part breath. What that's going to look like is we're going to inhale from deep in the lower belly, expanding our belly as we inhale. And then we're going to move the breath, the inhale, to our rib cage. And then at the final third of our breath, we're going to fill up our chest. And as we exhale, we're going to take that in reverse. We're going to exhale the air from the chest first, followed by the rib cage, and then finally release the air that's in our lower belly. So we're going to be inhaling through the nose first. When you're ready, taking a deep breath in, starting from the lower belly, expanding the lower belly. You may want to place your hands there so you notice where it expands. And now inhale through the rib cage. And then finally expand the chest at the top of your inhale. And now exhale from the chest. Exhale from the rib cage. And then contract the belly as you finish the exhale from the lower belly. Let's find 2 more rounds of that. Inhaling, expanding the belly. Expanding the rib cage. Expanding the chest. And then exhaling, contracting the chest. Contracting the rib cage. And contracting the lower belly. 1 more round, inhaling through the lower belly, the rib cage, and expanding the chest. Exhaling through the chest, the rib cage, and contracting the lower belly as you exhale the rest of your air. Return to normal inhales and exhales through the nose. Slowly begin to open the eyes and make your way into tabletop position. Knees stacked under hips, wrists stacked under the shoulders here. We're going to circle out the wrists with the upper body and just bring a little bit of movement there, a little bit of heat so we can begin to put weight on the wrists. Take the circles in the opposite direction. And then exaggerate the movements with the upper body, beginning to incorporate the hips. So draw the hips over to one side, reach back over the heels with the hips, draw the hips to the second side, and then forward. Taking a few circles in one direction with the whole body here. You should start to feel nice on the hips, the outer hips, the glutes. And we're continuing to stretch our wrists just a little bit as we draw the upper body forward from the hands. And then change directions. You also feel this in our inner thighs a little bit. And now think cat-cow, but in a circular motion with the chest. So I'm going to drop my chest in between my shoulders, arch my spine a little bit, and then I'm shifting my rib cage over to the left. Cat shape by rounding my spine through the center and over to the other side. Cow shape as I go down, cat as I go up. Again, just making some kind of side to side cat-cow motions here. And then change directions. We are headed for a puppy pose next. I'm going to give you the option to put your forearms on blocks if you would like. Again, not mandatory. If you have blocks handy and like to use them, lower the forearms down, placing the blocks under the elbows or anywhere that feels nice to get a little bit more opening in the chest. Our hips are stacked directly above the knees here. Reaching forward with the hands. Welcome to pulse the chest up and down if you'd like, or just do a static hold here. Forehead can meet the mat, or chin can also reach for the mat. Come onto the fingertips, lift the torso, remove the blocks if you've used them. Let's make our way into a downward facing dog. Coming onto the balls of the feet, pressing into the mat, lifting the knees, straightening the legs. First downward dog of the day. Pedal out the feet. Maybe you wish to dip one knee down towards the mat, feeling a side stretch. Get out the wiggles, whatever feels nourishing for you today. And then after a moment, come to stillness. Let's concentrate on our downward facing dog adjustments. So we want our weight distributed equally between the fingertips, the knuckles, the knuckle pads, the base of your fingers, and your wrists. Attempting not to dump all the weight into the wrists here. So gripping the mat really and energetically. We're pushing the mat away from us, creating distance between our wrists and our side body. Okay, so what that's going to do is it's going to bring our armpits closer to our ears as opposed to more like our ears to our elbows, okay? We're also reaching the sit bones for the sky here. Our heels are working in the direction of the mat. They don't have to get there, but they're working in that direction. And we're rotating the shoulders out. Our chest is pressing back towards our thighs here. A couple more breaths here in down dog. Focusing on form. And then come onto the balls of the feet. Walk the feet to meet the hands at the top of the mat. Pause in a forward fold here. Allow the abdomen to rest on the tops of the thighs. So that may mean that you have a substantial bend in your knees, and that is great. If you can keep that connection, keep the knees bent, and then allow the head to hang heavy, allowing gravity to separate the vertebrae in the spine, creating length in the spine and the lower back, mid back, and the cervical spine of the neck. Engage the core, find an even deeper bend in the knees, press into the heels, roll all the way to standing, vertebrae by vertebrae. When you reach the top, inhale the arms overhead, and exhale the hands by the sides. Let's begin moving our blood around a little bit more. We're going to begin with a sun salutation A, Surya Namaskar A, just a basic one to begin, and then we'll add on from there. Inhaling, sweeping the arms overhead. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, use the core to draw the head forward, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to high plank or plank on the knees for a vinyasa. As you exhale, lower down, rock the body forward and then lower down with the gaze lifted all the way to the belly. If you'd like to practice cobra for your back bend, or upward dog is an option here as well. Use the core to draw the hips back over the heels. Turn onto the balls of the feet, straighten the legs, downward facing dog. Run through those adjustments in your head again that we discussed last time. Gripping the mat with your fingers, sit bones to the sky, shoulders rotated out, chest towards thighs. And then come onto the balls of the feet, walk feet to hands, engage the core, inhale the half lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. And exhale, hands by the sides. Adding on. Deep bend in the knees, sitting back into your chair pose. The weight is in the heels. Hands can be at the waist, or you can stretch the arms upright next to the ears. Your arms are active, which means you're hugging your triceps to your bone here. And then on the next exhale, straighten the legs, forward fold. Inhale to find half lift. Exhale, take a vinyasa. If you're in your high plank, your shoulders are protracted, separated from one another. Exhaling as you lower down. Inhale to find your cobra or your upward facing dog with the glutes engaged. Draw back with the core to find your downward facing dog. Meet down dog for a few breaths. On your next inhale, lift the left toes high.
Rock the body forward, bend the left knee, and then lower the knee to the mat about halfway up. Sweep the left toes off to the long side of the mat, and then rotate your torso so that you are opening the right shoulder up. We're finding a supported side plank here. You are welcome to take this into a non-supported side plank if you would like. Pausing here, and then draw the right arm over the right ear, opening the shoulder, opening the right side body here. Gaze can follow the right hand. Square the chest back off to the mat. Sweep the left toes back on the mat. Find your downward facing dog and take a vinyasa, or stay in downward dog if you'd like, or find child's pose. Your option. We're going to take that on side 2, inhaling the right toes high, exhaling as you rock the body forward, bend right knee, lower right knee, sweep right toes off the long side of the mat. Weight shifts into the right hand as you lift the left arm towards the sky. Supporting myself on my right knee, my right hand, and my left foot. Supported side plank, or again, you can step the feet together, stagger the feet, stack the feet, find a tree pose, your version of side plank if you'd like it. If you are in a non-supported side plank, be sure to lift the hips high. And then squaring everything off to the top of the mat again. Find your vinyasa, or meet me in a downward facing dog. Come on to the balls of the feet. Walk feet to hands. You can also hop the feet to the hands if that's in your practice. Use the core to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find your forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. And exhale, hands by the sides. Moving on from here, shift the weight into the right leg. Think strong outer right hip. Engage the bandhas, engage your core area. Reach the collarbones away from one another. We're going to become light in the left toes and step back with a long stance into a high lunge. So once you feel in control, sliding left foot behind you, landing on the ball of the foot for your high lunge. And inhale the arms up overhead, or hands can remain at the waist. If your arms are lifted, they're active and strong, and your gaze is also lifted. Your back thigh is really activated and turned on to enable you to stay stable here. Find a nice big inhale. And on the exhale, open the arms into a cactus pose, drawing the chest forwards. Couple breaths here. And then inhale the arms back overhead. And on your exhale, find warrior 2. So now you're rotating the hips to the long side of the mat, squaring off there. Look down, make sure you can see your right big toe. If not, slide the right knee out to the right a little bit. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Arms are strong and active. Gaze is over the front fingertips here. And you're opening the collarbones away from one another. Warrior 2. We have two options for our next move. Option one is to find Skandasana at the back of the mat, which means bending deeply into the left knee and lowering down into a side lunge. Rotating back and forth between legs. That's option number one. Option number two is to come into a malasana squat. So shortening your stance just a little bit, toes pointed out, finding a deep bend in the knees, and then lifting the torso. Squatting up and down 4 times in malasana squat with the spine straight and tall. So we're not bending forward like this in our squat, okay? Choose your option. We're gonna do 4 of each of those. So from your warrior 2, I'm taking a Skandasana to the back of the mat. Hands for support if you'd like to find number 2, number 3. If you're in your malasana squats, this is your last one. And then lift back up into a wide-legged stance, toes pointed out. If you're in a malasana squat, maybe take your feet a little bit wider as we're headed for goddess pose. Bend into the knees here, driving the knees away from one another. If you find that your knees are starting to roll in, straighten your legs a little bit more so that you can keep the knees away from one another. Okay? Whatever depth you need to be at to maintain the integrity of the pose, we're working on strengthening our inner thigh muscles here. Hands can be at the waist, arms can be lifted, or they can be extended if you'd like, and activated. Be here for another few breaths, pulsing up and down if you'd like. Straighten the legs, arms up in a star shape, taking a big wide stretch, reaching and lengthening through the waist. Optional vinyasa or step to the top of the mat and back to downward facing dog. If you're in your vinyasa, plant the hands on the mat, step it back to plank, and high push-up, low push-up, back bend, use the core, draw back to downward facing dog. Come onto the balls of the feet, walk the feet to hands, inhale, halfway lift, exhale to find your forward fold, inhale, rise to stand, and exhale, hands by the sides. Let's find that on side 2. Left leg becomes strong. Weight shifts into the left leg, strong outer hip. Core is engaged, right toes become light. Step it back to your high crescent lunge, ball of the back foot. Again, hands at the waist, collarbones spread, or you can lift the arms high on the inhale. As we exhale, cactus arms, drawing the chest forward. Big inhale, arms lift high, and exhale, open it up, warrior 2, rotating the back foot flat to a 45-degree angle. Weight is in the outside edge of your back foot and equally distributed between both feet. Collarbones are reaching away from one another. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Next, we have the 2 options of finding Skandasana at the back of the mat, that deep side lunge, or again, straighten the left leg, rotate the feet, walk the feet together, find your malasana squat, okay? If you're finding your malasana squat, again, we're keeping the spine straight and tall, just slowly lowering down. Just to whatever depth you can safely get back up. Let's find this 3 more times. This is number 3. And 4. We're meeting in that setup for goddess pose. So our feet are in a wide-legged stance, toes pointed out to the corners, bending deep in the knees, or if you find your knees start to roll in, again, straighten the legs a little bit and consider driving the knees away from one another. Opening the collarbones here. Pulsing for just a moment. Straightening the legs. Find that star shape one more time. Open the arms wide. Reach them away from one another. Lengthen through the waist. Step to the top of the mat and find down dog, or step to the top of the mat and take a vinyasa. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Using the core to draw yourself back. Pausing in downward facing dog. Lifting to the balls of the feet, walk feet to hands. Engage the core, draw the spine long. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. And exhale, the hands to the sides. We're going to practice some balance poses next, but we're going to get there through a high lunge and a warrior 3. So this is what that's going to look like. Shift the weight into the right leg, strong right leg. We're stepping back to high lunge again with our left toes. So once everything's in place and you feel stable, taking that wide-legged stance to your high crescent lunge. Options: stay here in your high crescent lunge, or if you'd like to challenge your balance, you can place the hands at the chest, rock the upper body forward, shorten your stance just slightly, kick off the back foot, and find a warrior 3 pose. Your back leg is just as active as your standing leg. Hips are square towards the mat. We're going to try to come to standing without lowering that back foot. So lift the torso. See if it's possible to sweep the left foot forward. And then find eagle legs. So cross the left leg over the right for eagle. If you want to add the arms, you can take the right arm and put it underneath the left and find eagle arms. Reaching the elbows away from you, separating the shoulder blades on the back. If you fall out of it, give it another try. And then unwinding from everything with control. Set both feet together, shake it off. Let's try side 2. Becoming strong in the left outer hip, stepping back with the right leg once you feel stable. Collarbones are still spread, core is tight. High crescent lunge, ball of the back foot. And again, static hold here, or if you would like to try the balance, hands to chest, lean the upper body forward, kick off back foot, warrior 3. Fighting hard to keep the collarbones open here instead of collapsing the shoulders down. This works your back muscles, as you can probably notice. And then see if possible to come to standing without lowering the foot. And this time wrapping the right foot around the left, right foot around the left shin, standing tall. If you want to practice eagle arms, the left arm comes under the right this time. Reaching the elbows away from you. And then gently unwinding everything with control, lowering down to the mat, shaking it out, and then coming to stillness in Tadasana for a moment. Okay, we're headed for pyramid pose next. If you like to use blocks when we do this pose, grab them now. I'll demonstrate what that looks like here in a moment. Shift the weight into the right foot. Core is tight. Stepping back with the left leg again into a high lunge. Ball of the back foot. From here, with or without blocks, straighten the front leg and find a forward fold over the front leg. Remaining on the ball of the back foot, back heel lifted. If you'd like, you can also lift the toes of the front leg to intensify the stretch a little bit. Work on driving the chest forward a little bit and then down towards the leg. Stay here. If you'd like to try a revolved pyramid shape, lower the back foot and turn the toes out to angle to the top left corner of the mat. Line up the heel of your front foot with the arch of the back foot. Square the hips off to the bottom of the mat, to the ground. Take the left hand either on a block outside the right foot or on the mat if it meets the mat. Square the hips off towards the top of the mat and then rotate the right arm up, turning the torso over to the right. So you're trying to open the chest up to the right. Lower everything back down. Let's step the feet together at the top of the mat. Rise to stand, and we'll change sides from here. Shifting weight into the left foot this time, stepping back with the right once you feel steady. You're on the ball of the back foot, and once you feel stable, the right leg straightens. Hands can be on blocks, hands can be on the mat. You are also welcome to try for a balance here without the hands. Reaching the arms behind you. Making our way to that revolved pyramid shape. Lower the back foot, shorten your stance, line up the heel of the front foot with the arch of the back foot. Again, using a block if you'd like for your right hand this time, as you twist the torso to the left and open the left shoulder up. This is a revolved pyramid pose. Your hips are squared to the top of the mat, and your gaze is working towards the left fingertips. Revolving everything back down to the mat. stepping the feet together at the top of the mat. Inhale, rise to stand. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. One opportunity for a final vinyasa if you'd like it, or skip it and meet me in a tabletop position. All we're doing from here is taking the hips off to one side or the other and swinging the legs forward to come to seated. Legs are extended long, sitting tall in the spine. Sit bones are reaching for the mat. You should be able to feel the mat with your sit bones. If you need to move anything out of the way, go ahead and do that now. And then bend the left leg and bring the sole of the left foot down to the mat. Reach the left hand behind you. Inhale the spine tall, creating length. And then see if it's possible to take the right elbow and gently rest it on the outside of the left knee. Okay, we're turning the torso over to the left, seeing if you can gaze over your left shoulder. Your right foot is flexed. Your right calf and your right thigh are still active and strong. And you're trying to hold yourself in position with your core versus the leverage of the elbow to the knee. Sitting tall. Unwinding from there, changing sides. Again, reach the left arm really, really tall. Grow long in the spine, grow tall in the spine before you twist, creating just a little bit more space to work with there. Left leg is active, foot is flexed. Hands should be light, using your core for strength here. Sitting up out of the waist, reaching the crown of the head towards the ceiling or the sky. Releasing the stretch, extending the legs. Actually, bring the legs wider than the mat. Knees are bent here. Plant the hands behind you. Drop the knees over to one side. We're just going to do a quick little 90 degree angle stretch here. Getting into the hips just a little bit more. Moving from side to side. And now extend the legs long. We're going to come all the way down to the back. If you are using a bolster today or a folded up or rolled up blanket, have the bolster nearby for a little bit later here in class. And then lower all the way down to the back. Once you land, bend the knees, draw the knees up so that the knees are stacked above the hips. Lift the arms overhead, put the palms on the ceiling or the sky. So you're kind of in a dead bug shape, let's call it. Press the lower back into the mat. We're going to tap. We're going to lift our head, our neck, our shoulders, and our rib cage and see if we can tap our knees to our elbows here. Still reaching for the sky, lifting the hips. And then we're lowering everything down to the mat to tap. Knees stay bent. Lifting everything up to tap the knees to elbows. Lowering it down. Lifting head, neck, shoulders. A few more rounds here. Press the lower back into the mat as you lift the knees to meet the elbows. The next time you're at the top, see if you can hold the knees to the elbows here for 8, 7, 6, shoulder blades lifted, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the contact between knees and elbows, lower the head, keep everything else in place. This time, bring the knees together, bring the hands together, lift the head, the neck, the shoulders, and take the hands to the outside of the left leg, keeping the shoulder blades lifted, working the obliques here. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Second side. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lowering everything down. Bring the hands underneath the sacrum, underneath the tailbone. Lift the legs straight up into the air, and then maintain contact with the mat and your lower back. Drop the legs, lowering down to an angle that still allows you to have contact with the lower back and the floor. If you find that your lower back starts to lift the legs a little bit higher. Holding here for 8, 7, pressing the lower back down, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now flutter kicking if that feels safe for your back. Again, maintaining contact there. Flutter kicking for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lifting the legs straight above your head again, or straight above the hips. And now gently lowering the legs a little bit at a time, slowly all the way down to the mat, pressing that lower back in. Nice. Remove the hands. Maybe wiggle the hips from side to side a little bit. Release that core area. Taking a few breaths here. We have one little last burst of energy before we wind things up. If you're using a bolster today, place it under your knees. We're going to do just a few isolated knee strengthening exercises and ankle strengthening exercises. If you don't have that bolster, it's okay. You can still press the knee into the ground without the bolster. If you also have the option to use a rolled up blanket. Well, all we're going to do here is we're going to, starting with the right leg, press the knee into the bolster as firmly as you can, trying to flatten the bolster with your knee, okay? And we're going to hold there for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Second side, press the left knee into the bolster or the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round on each side. Right knee for 10, 9, 8. Press a little harder. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Left side for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Use your feet to press the blanket or bolster down so that it's underneath your ankles. Again, if you don't have one, it's not a problem at all. You can still do this. Now we're going to isolate each ankle and work on strength building in the ankles. So what that's going to look like is we are drawing circles with one ankle in one direction. Make those circles slow and controlled, like you're stirring a big pot of honey with your foot. And make the rotations as dynamic as possible. So you're utilizing the muscles, the whole area around your ankle. Change the direction of your circles. You're also going to feel this strength building in your calves. Allow your shoulders to be relaxed on the mat. And then come to stillness and point and flex the foot. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Keep up with that at that pace. Do a few more of these. For 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Relax the right ankle. Start with rotations on the left, making circles in one direction or the other. Dynamic circles, slow circles. Change directions. Strengthening the ankles helps in balance poses in yoga and in everyday life as you are walking around, constantly trying to avoid stumbling on anything or catching yourself if you happen to trip. Stabilizing. All right, coming to stillness and then pointing and flexing, pointing and flexing, pointing and flexing. This also helps strengthen the calf muscles and even the muscles around the knee. Continuing here, just a few more. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Slide the bolster off to the side if you're using one. Bend the knees, plant the soles of the feet on the ground. Let the lower back rest. Draw the knees up towards the chest. Roll from side to side. Let's find a quick supine twist before we find our final resting pose. Extend the arms open to a T. Allow the knees to lower to the left and turn your gaze in the direction of the right hand. You can soften the eyes closed if they haven't been closed already. If you find that your right shoulder is lifting off the mat, back out of the twist a little bit until your shoulder can relax. Maybe placing a bolster or block or pillow underneath the knees to allow them to relax. With a strong core, lift the knees through center and take them to the second side, turning your gaze to face the fingertips on the left. making our way into Shavasana, engaging the core, lifting the knees, lengthening the legs. Feet are mat width distance. Arms next to the sides here, closing the eyes. Allow the body to become as heavy as possible. Heavy in the pelvis, heavy in the chest, heavy in the cheekbones, heavy eyeballs. We'll be here for just a few minutes of silence. Begin to incorporate a little movement into the body. Rolling on to one side or the other. Press your way up to seated. Quick cross of the legs for one last moment here. I want to thank you for practicing with me today. I'm glad we stumbled upon each other here in YouTube. And if you enjoyed the class, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the videos that we'll be posting again soon. I hope you have a wonderful day.